Hello and welcome to a very special video. That's right, it's finally time for my slightly delayed 75,000 subscriber special Q&A. First off, I am incredibly grateful for the immense support you as viewers and subscribers have given my channel, whether you've been here since the beginning or have only just discovered my channel recently. Your support is exactly what makes living my dream possible, and I love sharing my experiences with you. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to answer all of your questions, as I received a lot. So don't be offended if yours was skipped. But now, let's get into it. So I'll be sorting the questions today into two separate categories. The first one, video requests, things you've suggested in the questions, and two, more personal questions about me and the channel and other things. So let's get straight on with the video requests, and SJX2000. Yes, this is coming soon, it's something I filmed, I don't know when. Southeast Asian Train Tour. So this is something that I have booked for very soon. By the time this video goes up, it may actually be underway already. So keep your eyes peeled for any updates on my social media. You can find that on Twitter or Instagram, whatever your preferred network is, as long as it's one of those two. But yes, it's coming soon. Discuss trains from Indonesia, I beg you. Your prayers will soon be answered, don't worry. You should review the Madaraka Express from Nairobi to Mombasa. I don't have any plans to do that right now, but half of my trips seem to be extremely spontaneous, so I guess we'll see what happens. Will there be any trips to East Asia, east of India in the future? If so, where first? Well, as I gave it away earlier, I will be going to Indonesia as well as a few other countries very soon. Will you ever come back to India? Yes, absolutely. I had a great time in India. There are so many interesting trains to ride out there, from the luxury trains, the hill trains, and some of the newer high-speed ones as well. Really looking forward to getting back to India. Fantastic country to visit. Did you visit Russian trains? I don't think so. Well, no, I haven't, and I would really like to in the long term, but right now it's definitely not feasible, especially for a Westerner such as myself. I'm from England, so the difficulties in getting a visa do put paid to that idea, unfortunately, but hopefully one day in the future once everything is sorted out. Do you plan on reviewing preserved railways? Now, I can't really say this is a massive interest of mine, so probably not, but you might see the occasional one on the channel anyway. Your channel banner has a 500 series Shinkansen on. It does. Do you plan on making a video and doing a trip on them? Yes, I have filmed one of them back when I was in Japan in May, and I'm not sure when that video will be coming out. But it is something quite special, so I'll leave some pictures on screen now so you can see what I mean, but it's one to look forward to. Would you travel around the FEV journeys of northern Spain? Yes, this is something I really want to do. There's plenty of beautiful stations and long narrow gauge journeys, which isn't something that's particularly common in Europe, so it's something I'd like to do eventually. Any plans for a down under trip? Not right now. It's very far away from a lot of places, of course, so it's not the easiest or cheapest place to get to, but I would really like to get those XPT trains in before they go, and I'm not 100% sure how long they have left, so I might need to take a spontaneous emergency trip there. Are you ever planning on trying out trains in the US? I'm curious about them since they get a bad rep. I have already been to the US, there's one video up on the channel at the moment, not sure when the rest will be coming out. As for whether I plan to go back, it's very expensive, which is the biggest drawback for me, but who knows. I also wouldn't mind seeing Canada and Mexico at the same time, so it's possible, but definitely not at the top of my priorities. When you did come to India, why not go to Pakistan and Bangladesh? Would have been more fun. Yes, so keep your eyes peeled for Pakistan. There's no plans for Bangladesh right now. However, Pakistan will be coming soon. It would have been difficult to fit it into the India trip because it was only 6 weeks across Sri Lanka and India. But yeah, I'm always open to going back to the region and trying some more countries there. Try Leo Express in Czechia. I have been on the Leo Express before, and I think I filmed a video back in spring on it actually, not uploaded yet. This is the problem with my videos, is I film so many of them I actually forget what I've made. But yes, I should have a video on that one hopefully sometime in the future. No Italian heritage trains? So I am really interested in the Italian heritage trains. I think in particular the Harlequin unit looks absolutely spectacular, and the old classic luxurious local hauled trains also look really interesting. As for whenever I get around to it, I'm not 100% sure, as with everything else, but I'm definitely open to trying them out. Mate, when are you over in China? Genuine question. I'm not sure. It's obviously a very interesting place. So many high-speed trains, of course it's the biggest network in the world for high speed in fact. Lots of long-distance sleeper trains as well, and I'm a big sucker for sleeper trains, so it's definitely something I'd like to try. As for getting there, I'm not sure how easy it is. Visas aren't known for being a particularly easy process, unfortunately, but if I can figure out enough information about it, I would love to go. Any plans to revisit Romania, perhaps on some less desirable routes? Yes, I really liked travelling on some of the rural routes in Romania. I thought it was really interesting. I've actually filmed a few more, so they will be coming out at one point, I'm not sure when. A few private operators and scenic routes, but yeah, it's a very beautiful country with a lot to offer in terms of railways, so I can't wait to share it. Have you got plans to try out AVE or AVE high-speed train in Spain? As I have heard they are really good. Yes, so I have already done a video on one of these, and I have a few more recorded, but I will also go back at some point in the nearish future to try out the brand new Talgo Avril once they enter service, as well as some other high-speed trains. Senegal, West African country, recently got new trains. Do you plan on having a go at them? So yeah, I've seen this in the news. I think they're modern Alstom Coradia units, and that seems quite cool. I think they go to the airport. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I definitely wouldn't say no to tying that trip into one where I also visit Algeria, Tunisia, and maybe Egypt. So that's all of the requests out of the way. Now we'll move on to your personal questions about me and my channel and other things. How do you rate the UK railway system compared to the other railways you've used? So the UK railway system is my home network. Of course I've used it a lot. I've been to pretty much every place in the country using the UK railway network, nearly every single line as well, so I've definitely had a lot of experience with the UK railway network. And I think there are a lot of really big problems with the UK rail network, which isn't to say that we don't have absolutely massive advantages, because we really do, in the form of, for example, really strong passenger rights, which aren't always respected, but they're good, they're strong in favour of the passenger. And also frequencies are absolutely brilliant compared to many other countries. You look at some other European countries and they might run like a train every 2 hours on the most important route in the country, but London to Manchester, for example, runs every 20 minutes, so it's pretty hard to beat that, and that's something that we do have to be proud of. However, I really think they do need to pay attention to the onboard experience in particular. The catering is getting worse and worse and vanishing on fairly long distance journeys, and the comfort is truly shocking. Also, a lot of people say that UK railways are expensive, and a lot of people also disagree, saying they're about in line with other countries. I definitely think they are overpriced. I am lucky enough to be under 25, so I get a third off my tickets, as well as splitting my tickets and knowing my way around the ticketing system very, very well, and I still find that they are not particularly cheap in comparison to European trains, So overall, it's a pretty mixed bag. There are advantages and disadvantages of the UK railway network, and I just wish that somebody would care enough to actually fix the problems, but unfortunately with this government it doesn't seem to be particularly likely. And a few people asked if you could point out one thing about European railways that you could improve, what would it be? So I think the single biggest problem, at least for me, is the connections. If you're taking a long journey, say from London onwards to, let's say, Bratislava in Slovakia or Madrid in Spain, you aren't very well protected if things go wrong. And on a journey of that length, things are probably going to go wrong. So if you miss your connection, then it's gone. And then you need to buy a hotel and then maybe even a new train ticket if you didn't have a flexible one. With planes in Europe, most flights are direct flights, or they're booked as one ticket, so you can just book from A to B to C, and your connections are guaranteed. With European trains, this isn't the case, and you'll often need to buy multiple tickets, 1, 2, 3, who knows, depending on the length of the journey. And if those connections don't work out, then unfortunately the passenger is the one who has to sort it out many times. So that's the one biggest thing I would change. There are of course a lot of other things that could be better for the passenger experience, but I really think the passenger rights and connections are just the one big thing where we really need to improve. Which country/city has the best/worst transit in your opinion? It's funny you should ask that. I'm actually currently in my hotel in Istanbul, and the transport here is absolutely dreadful. For a start, the metro lines just don't seem to line up. For example, getting from the airport to my hotel is 4 separate trains with a walk in between 2 of the stations, and that's really not a competitive offer compared to the taxis. Also, the quality of the commuter trains is really bad, from terrible ticketing systems with annoying smart cards and really poor comfort, with plastic benches on 2-hour journeys nearly. There's a long way to go for Istanbul's transit in my opinion. As for best, it's difficult. I really actually do like the London transport system, contrary to probably a lot of people's opinions, but I think it's really easy to use with, travel cards, which are annoyingly being phased out, but also contactless and Oyster just makes it so much easier to use all of the modes, which are usually very well connected as well. And a few people have asked what's been the toughest journey to film? Or have you ever had to scrap a video because passengers and/or staff were hostile towards you because of filming? So the toughest journeys to film are those where you just get told off for doing every little thing that you need to do to film these videos. I mean, it's really difficult to make a good video when you can't go out to the front of the train to get a good shot, or you get told off for filming around the station, which is usually a beautiful building, so it doesn't make sense to me. Or even just walking around on the inside of the train, you can get told off for filming sometimes. So that's probably the single most difficult thing to film. However, there are a few other things, like for example filthy windows or poorly aligned windows, which just drive me insane. But also, if you get random seat allocation and end up in an aisle seat, you're probably not going to have the best video there. As to whether I've actually had to scrap a video I was making, no, not due to people being angry at photos or videos or anything. Most of the times when somebody tells you to stop taking photos, you just say okay, put your camera away, and then 5 seconds later you can just get it back out and continue. But yeah, it's still really annoying when that happens, but hey, I try my hardest. And a lot of people have asked, how do you come up with lesser known lines, or how do I plan my trips? So the information for planning my trips come from a massive variety of sources, from forums, localized online groups, or just photos I've found online. There are so many great resources and it's impossible to list even a few of them. But I really like digging through all the photos, videos and other information to try and find the more obscure trains to ride, as well as the big heavy hitting ones. What was the fastest you went on a train? So this is actually a 3-way tie for this answer, and it's 320 kilometers an hour, or about 200 miles an hour. Those 3 trains were number 1 ICE, the German train from Stuttgart to Paris on the LGV Est. Number 2 is the Alborach in Morocco, which is the double-deck TGV in Africa, which I really enjoyed. And thirdly, most recently, some of the Shinkansen trains in Japan. They also go at this incredible speed. And also, they happen to be really frequent, so it's really cool to just stand at the station and 10 minutes later you'll see so many trains go by at maximum speed. It's really impressive, and they're really long too. What was the first / your favourite train ride you remember as a child? So I've actually got a few videos which I will put up on screen now of me just kind of hanging out at train stations when I was around 5 or 6 years old. There's a few I remember. I did a journey up to York to visit the National Rail Museum. That was on GNER, which is probably one of the best liveries a train in the UK has ever seen. I fondly remember laughing at the Class 91s because of the blunt end cab that goes up against the carriages. For some reason, 5 or 6 year old me found that absolutely hilarious, but yeah. I also have a lot of memories of first Great Western trains, both HSTs but also the newer at the time Adelante units, which I found really exciting because they just were a massive step above everything else in terms of how modern they looked. Which country has the best railway infrastructure that you've visited? And this is an easy one. Japan is the best by far. The amount of high-speed lines going all over the country and just the smoothness and quality of all the infrastructure. I spent 3 weeks there and encountered a single significant delay, and that's rare, to be honest. Most people won't even encounter that. Almost all of the stations are brand new looking as well and kept in a fantastic condition. They're so clean and information is easy to find even for a foreigner who understands none of the Japanese language. It's absolutely fantastic. What kind of enthusiast are you? Do you prefer modern trains with AC and other amenities, or would you rather take an older train with opening windows and soul? So I love a good old loco-hauled train, in particular with opening windows so you can open it up and stick your head out and just get a nice breeze and look at the passing scenery in better detail than you ever could behind a sealed window. I also spend a lot of my time when I'm not filming videos in cities just trying to find interesting locos to ride or other journeys like that, so I definitely appreciate the more interesting older trains. But that's of course not to say that I don't appreciate a nice, comfortable aircon train. Those are much appreciated, especially at high speed. How many trains have you been on, and what are the most videos representing one country in it? I don't understand the second part of the question, however I can tell you how many trains I have been on. I don't actually have that information to hand, so I'll just edit it in. This is how many train companies I've been on, this is how many different types of train I've been on, and this is how many train journeys I have taken, ever. And yeah, I made that spreadsheet myself, I'm very proud of it, but I'm not going into it, I could talk for hours about it. What is the longest journey you have done point to point without flying? Now I'm not 100% sure on this one because I, again, don't have access to my spreadsheet, but I have done a few long distance journeys in my time. The biggest one that comes to mind, however, is London in England to Kharkiv in eastern Ukraine, where I also went via Croatia. It was a bit of a weird route. I've also done a very long journey in Kazakhstan, where I travelled from Aktau or Mangistau station across the entire length of the country to Mangistau. That was actually 63 hours in one go, which was pretty challenging, but I really enjoyed it, and it's satisfying to have done such a long journey. What was your original motivation for starting a YouTube channel? So I actually first floated this idea for a train reviewing kind of style channel around 2017 maybe. However, I never really got round to it due to doing other stuff. However, I was having a conversation with a friend one day from a Eastern European country, and he said he was going to take some photos of his train journey to show me what it's like. So when he asked for me to do the same, I thought, well, I might as well video it, and decided to upload it to YouTube, and you can find that video by clicking up here. It's not the best, but everybody has to start somewhere, and I'm really glad I did it.
What kit do you use for filming videos? Well, all my videos are shot with a GoPro Hero 9 Black attached to a handheld stick. And I edit my videos using DaVinci Resolve. If you were given a time machine and one chance to travel to a certain point in the past to take a historic train, which train would it be? I'd actually have to pick my home country, UK. There were so many interesting trains through recent history that I sadly missed out on, so to be able to experience them firsthand would be amazing. I don't think I could quite narrow it down to one though. A few people asked, would I do plane reviews or other transport? Despite my channel being about trains, there are occasional times where taking a flight is the best option. Whilst I've been on a few rare airlines and planes, I think there are a lot of people that can do it better than me, and I don't really enjoy flying, so no. As for buses and boats, I'm just not interested in making videos on these at all. Though remember, every rule has its exceptions, so stay tuned for some pretty interesting multimodal journeys.
And many people have asked, what is your favourite/least favourite train? This is a very difficult question to answer. After all, I have been on this many train types, and choosing just one bad one and one good one is very difficult. However, I can give a few examples of trains that just really aren't the best. Firstly, I have to mention the Class 800 type trains in the UK. These trains just really get on my nerves, from uncomfortable seats, horrible brightness, terrible ride, and just having many other annoying features that I go into in more detail in my recent video on the type. And rather topically, as I am in Istanbul, I have to mention the Marmaray. I was on the Marmaray train for 1 hour 15 minutes on the plastic seats, and it was unbearable. It's a really poor commuter service. I'm not exactly asking for a kitchen and beds and all that, but I think they could have done a lot better, particularly because longer journeys on this train aren't actually uncommon. I've been in a position where I've wanted to do journeys from Western Istanbul to Eastern Istanbul. Normally they're over an hour long, and sitting on plastic benches is not great. And personally, having aircon on trains isn't a massive thing to me, so my least favourite train isn't actually one that doesn't have aircon, but I really cannot stand when a train both doesn't have aircon, but also doesn't have proper opening windows. That is a recipe for disaster, and I hate it. As for my favourite train, it's very difficult to say again, but I really am a big fan of the ICE trains. Pretty much all of them have fantastic seating, great ambience, and a really good restaurant car, which I always make sure to pay a visit on longer journeys. I'm also a massive sucker for sleeper trains, so basically any overnight train with beds, yep, I'll be there. And many people have also asked, how many languages do you speak? Now, it may surprise people to know that it's actually just the one, English. However, I know a little bit of German from school and a little bit of Russian from my travels. Now, a lot of people have asked me about this because of how well I pronounce station names, place names, and things like that. But I just put a lot of effort into making them sound as good as I possibly can. I don't always get it right, but it's something I really enjoy doing. I think it's a small but really good touch to add to a video. And lastly, what do I do for a job, and how do I pay for my travel? Well, I pay for my travel through my job, which is my travel. Basically, yes, YouTube is my full-time job. I've been lucky enough to say that since the beginning of this year, and I'm very grateful for all of the support that lets me do this. It really is my dream job to be able to ride around on trains anywhere in the world, and it even seems like all the time where I just end up in some crazy tiny village in the middle of nowhere in some random country, filming trains and thinking, wow, this is my job. And that brings us to the end of the Q&A. Thank you so much for 75,000 subscribers, even if we've kind of gone a little bit over that. Whoops, sorry. But anyway, I'm so grateful for all of the support that has made this possible. 75,000 is a lot of people, and I'm really grateful for each and every one of you, whether you've been here since the beginning or if you've just found my channel yesterday. Thank you so much, and we'll be back to normal next week for your usual train video, so I look forward to seeing you then, and thanks for watching.